Hello everyone, Nat Richards from Techs on the Move here, and the reason for this video is that I'd like to talk mainly to our international audience, those who have been following what we do for a little while and are interested in moving to Australia, or perhaps are even already working with us toward that goal before the whole COVID thing started kicking us all around, about what Techs on the Move is going to do in the coming years and how that may or may not impact what we do with migration. So of course it has been a pretty hard time for Techs on the Move with COVID-19 in effect. With our borders shut, there's obviously not been any ability on our end to bring motor mechanics to Australia, which has always been our core business, and migration work here in Australia, because of course we can't do much migration work for those who are overseas, has been limited also. So we've been hanging in, we're not going anywhere. It has been hard, but we've survived and we'll continue to do that. But Gavin and I, together for the most part, are planning on a new real era for our business to start in the coming weeks, that we want to be very transparent with and upfront with our existing followers, I guess you could say, and try to get in front of any questions that might come up. And it's not at all that we're moving away from what we do and we're not leaving it behind, but there are going to be some changes that those who pay attention to what we put out there will notice. So in essence, rather than just purely focusing on bringing skilled automotive tradespeople from overseas, as we have for the last decade or so, in the coming weeks and months, what you're going to see is Techs on the Move out there putting a lot of effort into establishing a new way of doing business that we call on hire. So basically, Gavin and I, Techs on the Move, will be offering to our clients in Sydney at first, and hopefully in other parts of Australia later on, skilled automotive tradespeople, motor mechanics for the most part, on short temporary assignments to go into workshops around the place that need them for perhaps a day, a week, a month, whatever the term is. So that business really is focused on trying to make sure that we're putting good techs into situations where they can do really well for a temporary basis and move on to the next job and the next one and the next one. We are going to call these techs rock stars because of the nature of that enterprise. So a bit of tongue in cheek, rock stars of course coming into town, playing a gig and then taking off to the next gig, very much like what we're suggesting for motor mechanics. The whole idea here really is that we're not abandoning our roots in migration, and we're certainly not walking away from our interest in that business. However, it's simply not viable for us to continue forever holding on and hoping that the borders reopen and we can try to bring back that sense of normality that was doing well for all of us beforehand. We're going to have to expand here. And indeed, to be perfectly honest, it's something that Gavin and I were thinking about quite closely beforehand anyway. This is really just a big kick up the bum that we needed to move in a new direction and offer some new services. Why are we doing that, apart from perhaps the obvious need to take our business in a new direction for survival? I'd say three reasons. First and foremost, we love automotive. We're just automotive nerds. We like being in this industry. We like talking about this industry. In particular, we like working with mechanics or automotive technicians. It's kind of what makes us tick, and this is a great way for us to take that passion and channel it into something new and positive, and we can stay dedicated to what we enjoy doing. The second major point, I think, is that we believe very sincerely that this will help answer our clients' needs. So before COVID, when we would routinely get phone calls or emails from our existing clients, or perhaps even new ones that we've not had contact before with, the first question that they ask, even if they've done business with us for years and they know exactly how long it can take to get an automotive tradesperson from overseas, they'll say, "Who have you got on the books right now that can start work quick? When can I have someone in my workshop swinging spanners quick?" And the answer is pretty much never quickly. The answer is usually months, depending on the right guy coming across with their own particular circumstances and visa requirements and all that stuff that you take into consideration. So the on-hire rockstar model that we're about to roll out, of course, is targeted at solving that issue, as well as a few others. particularly now that COVID is a thing and it's interrupted our economy so significantly, we do believe there's going to be a lot of prospect to put skilled automotive workers into short-term assignments where they're needed. Businesses are going to appreciate that flexibility, I think, and I hope that will also play very much in the hands of those tradespeople who want to take advantage of that structure as well and work with us to get their goals taken care of. And that sort of brings me to point 3, why are we doing this? Because we think it's a good deal for techs. So on hire, I think, to be perfectly frank, is a little bit of a dressed up version of labour hire, which is something that most of us, I'm sure, are more familiar with. And I think, whilst I'm certainly not looking to tar every labour hire business with the same brush, labour hire, it doesn't generally look to improve the lot of those that they're working with relative to what those workers perhaps could be getting in a more traditional employment structure. So that's where we're a lot different. We're not simply looking to say, well, to your average motor mechanic who's looking for a change, come and work with us or for us instead of working in an automotive garage on a full-time basis. We'll pay you the same as them, but now you're going to have to travel around to all these different workshops and bounce from one position to the next all the time. Far from it. We would like to pay them more, substantially more in some cases, because we think it's what motor mechanics are worth. We've been angling for years to try to get motor mechanics better paid, particularly those who are coming from overseas. It's always been a big bugbear of ours, and we'll kind of die on that hill more often than not of pushing better wages for motor mechanics, because we've got tons of respect for what they do, and we very firmly believe within this new on-hire rockstar model of ours, we can achieve that end, hopefully in a very sustainable way that will help techs achieve their goals and generally improve their lot when they go to work. So that's sort of the wrap up of all of that, and as we go live with this stuff and put more and more out there for people to see on our websites, on our Facebook account, on our Instagram, and the YouTube channel, of course, will also be updated. All of it will come to light more and more, and hopefully this thing gathers tons of momentum and is a runaway success. For our international audience, above and beyond this, not at all spelling the death of our ambitions to help people come from overseas, unfortunately, I think it's necessary for me to point out that we're not in a position to sponsor mechanics within that business at this time. It simply doesn't work. There's a lot of challenges to that. So, of course, it goes without saying that even if we wanted to, we couldn't bring someone from overseas because of the current situation. But even if there's somebody who's already in Australia on a sponsored visa, then they might wish to transfer that to a new business. It's not going to be ours, unfortunately. So for the time being, we definitely have to be working with Australian citizens or Australian permanent residents, or those who are here on an independent visa of some sort that does not require our business sponsorship. So a bit of a side note. If anyone's got any questions about any of that, of course, you're more than welcome to fire away and ask me. My name is Nat. You can get me at nat.richards@textonthemove.com.au. A lot more detail around this new business venture that Gavin and I are pushing out there into the world will come to light in the coming weeks, though. That's pretty much it. Thanks for suffering through 8 minutes of all of that. Hopefully it puts minds at ease of those who were thinking perhaps that Text on the Move have gone off on a totally different tangent. We still love you, I promise, and hopefully anyone that wants to get to Australia with our help can do that later on. We'll see how that goes. Cheers, bye.